Hi, everybody. How are you doing today? Thanks for joining me for a prayerful pause with the pastor. I think I have a couple of fun things for us to do today. The first one, just play along with it. I'm going to give you 10 seconds. Ready? During that time, I want you to name as many of the seven dwarfs as you can. 10 seconds, seven dwarfs. If you need longer, just hit the pause button and then we'll go on. Okay, here are the answers. How'd you do? That was just the dry run. Here comes the one that's really important. You ready? You're going to have 30 seconds for this one. I'd like you to name as many of the 12 disciples as you can. Again, if you need more time, just hit the pause button. But how many of the 12 disciples can you name in 30 seconds? Or more? Who's going to know? All right. I'll see you in, I was going to say in a minute, but I'll see you in half a minute. So here are the answers to that. Different accounting, different names depending on the gospel account. I want you to give yourself credit if you had anything close. And how many did you get? Usually, people, from my experience, this is no scientific study, but from talking with people, we can usually name about between 4 and 7 of the 12. So, consider yourself, according to that, where you fall on that continuum. I've heard it said that the 12 disciples can also represent the 12 houses of the zodiac as far as their personalities and roles in life are concerned. I've heard that they represent 12 different personality styles. Usually, the ones who are most often named right off the bat, in my experience, are Peter, James, and John. Then also Matthew, Thomas, of course, because of doubting Thomas. And then others sort of fall into place. Part of the reason I wanted to talk about this today was to pique your interest, to maybe learning some about the other disciples, but it's also to realize that we don't have to know all of the particulars in order to be touched by someone's life. We don't have to be biblical scholars that read the Bible from cover to cover in order to understand the basic themes of the Bible. We don't have to know word for word what Jesus said, and let me just say, as if anyone could know, right? People who are insistent upon quoting the King James Version, for instance, have to remember that that is a translation. And, well, we get into how the Bible was constructed. But what I think is important is that we understand the themes and the fact that each of those guys, and those were the guys, there were women associated with Jesus as well who were disciples, but that each of the followers of Jesus were just regular old gals and guys like you and me. They weren't scholars, they weren't theologians, they were bivocational. They were tax collectors or fishermen. They were people who had other lives, and then he captured them. He captured their lives and hooked them in some way. the same way that many of us feel charismatically drawn to people today, people of notoriety, whether they're movie stars or they're politicians or world leaders or religious leaders. There was something about him that drew them in. And in the next couple of days, I'm going to be sharing some information with you about discipleship. So I hope that you'll stay tuned for those. Those of you who have read, probably now it's might be 20 years old, but Rob Bell's book, Velvet Elvis, there is a chapter in there about discipleship, and we're going to start on that tomorrow. I'm going to read some sections just to sort of remind us of what it is that we are being asked and called to be as disciples. So for today, maybe think about what it would have been like to be one of those people traipsing around the Palestinian desert and into some towns and communities and then back out into the wilderness and hanging with Jesus 24/7. What might that have been like if you were there? Who knows? Maybe you were. Maybe we are now. Space-time continuum. There's no space and time. It all happens at the same point. Well, that's for another day. But you get the idea. We're going to be talking about disciples for a few days. I invite you to think about them if you feel like it. Google some information about the disciples. See where you might resonate. Which one of the disciples do you think you are most like? All right, that's it for now. I'll see you next time. I'm Pastor Deb Swift of South Presbyterian Church in Rochester, New York. Been watching A Prayerful Pause with the Pastor, a few moments for us to think of something greater than ourselves. Also nice to think about Disney and the Seven Dwarfs. I hope you have a great day. I'll see you next time. God bless. Bye for now.